A racist coach benched a black player at tryouts, his sneer a chain, until a pro scout stepped in, signing the teen on the spot, his talent shattering prejudice with a single, thunderous dunk. Jalen Carter, a 17-year-old black basketball prodigy from Atlanta, was sidelined by a biased coach during high school tryouts, dismissed as unfit despite his dazzling skills. Unbeknownst to the coach, a pro scout in the stands saw Jalen's brilliance and signed him to a G League contract, turning rejection into a radiant triumph. This wasn't just a tryout. It was a fierce stand for resilience, identity, and justice, forging a legacy that shook the court and echoed through the city. Before we dive into this blazing story of soaring above hate, drop a comment and tell me where you're tuning in from. If this tale of a black athlete turning bias into brilliance strikes your soul, hit that like button and subscribe to Narratives of Black Struggles for more raw truths about America's racial fight. Your support fuels these stories. Picture an Atlanta high school gymnasium, where sneakers squeak and prejudice prowls, but one player's about to face a storm he didn't summon. Jalen Carter, armed with skill and steel, steps onto a court he didn't choose to fight on, but his truth is ready to claim the ball. Let's dive into the story, where the fire ignites. Jalen Carter's sneakers carved a sharp rhythm across the polished hardwood of Westlake High School's gymnasium, the morning sun spilling jagged beams through high windows. June 7, 2025. The court pulsed, basketballs thumping like heartbeats, nets swishing like whispers, the air thick with the acrid tang of sweat, rubber soles, and raw ambition. At 17, Jalen was a quiet tempest, dreadlocks tied into a tight knot, brown eyes sharp as a hawk slicing through fog, his gray practice jersey clinging to his lean frame, a leather wristband etched with a cross, a gift from his Uncle Trey, warm against his skin, his mother Nia's voice a steady him. Play your truth, Jalen. You're forged for this. He was here for varsity basketball tryouts, his legs coiled for gravity-defying dunks, his heart tuned to the cadence of a crossover, but a coach's sneer was poised to turn the court into a crucible, testing his grit and igniting a battle he didn't seek, his blackness a mark in a gym that craved glory but not always its bearers. The gymnasium, Westlake's shrine to hoop dreams, gleamed with hard-won pride, banners of state championships swaying from rafters, bleachers scarred with decades of roars, the walls echoing with the ghosts of buzzer beaters. Jalen, a son of Mechanicsville's cracked asphalt, where street courts baked under Georgia's sun, where church choirs spilled hope into humid evenings, had played since he was 6, his talent sculpted by Uncle Trey, a former Morehouse point guard whose asphalt drills under streetlights forged Jalen's game. His wristband, bestowed after his first tournament win at 12, was his talisman, its etched cross a beacon of faith and fire, a reminder of Trey's gravelly voice. Keep rising, nephew. Nia, a teacher's aide stitching together double shifts at Carver Elementary, waited outside in their weathered Camry, her text aflare across his phone. Shine, baby, like you always do. Jalen's breath steadied, his mother's love his anchor, Mechanicsville's pulse, hoops clanging, him soaring, community grit, his rhythm. He wove through warm-up drills, his body a poem in motion, crossovers slicing like a blade, jumpers arcing with a soft hiss, his fadeaway a whisper of silk against the net. The gym buzzed with energy, 30 players, mostly black and Latino, their sneakers chirping in sync, their eyes hungry for a roster spot. Assistant coaches scribbled on clipboards, their pens darting, but head coach Carl Daniels, a white man in his 50s, stood by the scorer's table like a judge, his whistle dangling, his eyes cold behind wire-rimmed glasses, his clipboard a gavel poised to pass verdict. Carter, tighten your form. Daniels barked, his voice clipped, his gaze raking over Jalen's dreadlocks, his wristband, his blackness, lingering like a storm cloud. Jalen nodded, adjusting his stance, his jumper swishing clean through the hoop, the net barely trembling. Daniel's lips curled into a faint sneer, his pen unmoving. Next, other players, white kids like Ethan Miller, whose shots clanged off the rim, earned quick nods, their names checked with a flourish. Jalen's heart tightened, a familiar weight pressing, but he stayed fluid. Years of shade, classmates mocking his dreads as unkempt, teachers doubting his focus, refs flagging his flair as showboating. grounding his resolve. Scrimmage drills began, Jalen's gray team surging, his drive slicing through defenses like a river through stone, his dunks rattling the rim with a thunder that hushed the gym. "Pass, Carter," Daniels shouted, his voice sharp, ignoring Jalen's pinpoint assist that set up teammates for layups. Ethan fumbled a pass, his shot bricking, yet Daniels clapped, his voice warm. "Good effort, son, keep it up." Jalen soared for an alley-oop, lobbing the ball to Marcus Lopez, a Latino point guard, who scored with a soft touch. The gym roared, players cheering, assistant coaches nodding, but Daniels' whistle pierced like a blade. "Carter, you're hot-dogging. Hit the bench." The court fell silent, a hush swallowing the squeak of sneakers, Marcus muttering under his breath, "That's some BS, man." Jalen's chest burned, his wristband a pulse against his skin, but he walked to the sideline, his head high, Nia's voice a chant weaving through his mind, "Play your truth." The bench was a chain, Daniels hot-dogging a coded jab at his blackness, the court a stage for his bias, the bleachers a jury of peers and onlookers. Jalen sat, his legs still coiled like springs, his eyes tracing the scrimmage. Ethan's shots clanging, Marcus's steals sparking fast breaks, the net's soft swish a siren call. Daniel's clipboard remained still for Jalen, his gaze cold as steel. "Stay put, Carter. Learn to play team ball." Players whispered, Marcus glancing back, his voice low. "You're the best out here, Jalen, he's tripping." A few teammates nodded, Darius, a senior forward, Jamal, a sophomore shooter, but others, like Ethan, avoided Jalen's eyes, their silence a weight. Jalen's blood simmered, but he held his poise, the shade all too familiar. Cops eyeing his bike as a kid, teachers calling him trouble for his energy, refs whistling his flair while letting others slide. His game, honed on Mechanicsville's unforgiving courts, tempered by Trey's relentless drills, fueled by Nia's unwavering faith, was his shield, his wristband his anchor, his blackness a crown he refused to dim. The bleachers stirred, a woman in a tailored blazer, her badge glinting under the gym's fluorescence, scribbled furiously on a notepad, her eyes locked on Jalen's every move. Marissa Tate, a G League scout for the College Park Skyhawks, sat unnoticed by Daniels, her presence a quiet promise. Tryouts dragged on, Jalen's benching a sentence, his legs itching, his heart heavy with the roster's looming verdict. Daniels gathered the players, his clipboard raised like a decree, his voice flat. Starters, Ethan Miller, Darius Jones, Jamal Carter. Jalen Carter, cut. The gym froze, a gasp rippling. Marcus's jaw dropping, Darius muttering, "What the hell?" Ethan's smirk flickered, his starter spot a hollow crown. Jalen's heart sank, a stone in his chest, but he stood, his wristband warm, his eyes unyielding, ready to walk away. Tate rose from the bleachers, her heels clicking on the hardwood, her voice cutting through the silence like a blade. "Hold up, coach. Jalen Carter's not cut. I'm signing him to the G League, effective now." The gym erupted, players gaping, assistant coaches turning, Daniel's clipboard slipping, his face draining to chalk. Tate's badge flashed, her eyes locked on Jalen. "You're a pro, kid. Let's talk contract." Jalen's breath caught, his wristband a pulse, his mother's him roaring, "Play your truth." Daniel stammered, his voice weak. "He's not ready, he's raw." Tate's gaze sliced through him. "You're not the scout, coach. I see what you don't." The court was a crucible, the bench a spark, Daniel's shade a match that had ignited a fire. Jalen's talent a chainbreaker poised to rewrite the roster and claim his place in the light. A memory flickered. Mechanicsville, 2015, Jalen 10, dribbling on a cracked asphalt court under flickering streetlights, Trey's voice fierce. "Play free, nephew. Your game's your freedom." Nia's night shifts at Carver funded his first camp, her hands trembling as she laced his sneakers, her love a fire that burned through doubt. That vow, play, no shade, a legacy, kindled in Jalen's heart, a spark born in Mechanicsville's soul, where hoop dreams rose from concrete and choirs sang of hope. The gymnasium was Jalen's crucible, Daniel's bias a fleeting ash, his fight a fire ready to blaze through Westlake and beyond, his truth a ball soaring toward the stars. The gymnasium at Westlake High School echoed with the fading squeak of sneakers, the polished hardwood catching the noon sun's harsh glare. June 7, 2025, moments after G League scout Marissa Tate's voice shattered Coach Carl Daniels' verdict, declaring Jalen Carter signed to the College Park Skyhawks, his racist benching a chain she'd snapped with a single stroke. Jalen stood by the sideline, his gray practice jersey damp with sweat, dreadlocks tied into a tight knot, brown eyes fierce like a hawk slicing through mist, his leather wristband, Uncle Trey's cross-etched gift, pulsing warm against his skin. At 17, he was a spark, his legs still coiled from Tryouts' relentless drills, his heart pounding with the weight of Tate's contract. His mother Nia's voice to steady him. Play your truth, Jalen. You're forged for this. Daniel's sneer lingered. Carter, cut, a venomous echo, but Tate's words were a flame, Jalen's talent poised to blaze, turning rejection into a stand that would light the court and sear Atlanta's soul. The gym was a battlefield, its banners of past state championships swaying like tattered flags, the bleachers creaking under the shock of players and parents, the air thick with sweat, stunned silence, and the faint hum of disbelief. Jalen, a son of Mechanicsville's cracked asphalt, where street courts baked under Georgia's sun, where church choirs spilled hope into humid dusk, had dazzled through tryouts, his crossovers carving paths through defenders, his dunks shaking rims with a thunder that hushed the crowd, his assists threading like silk. His wristband, bestowed after a tournament win at 12, was his talisman, its cross a beacon of faith and fire, a reminder of Trey's gravelly voice. Your game's your freedom, nephew. Nia's text flared across his phone. You okay, baby? What's happening? Tate approached, her tailored blazer sharp, her Skyhawks badge glinting, her voice firm and unyielding. Jalen, you're G League material. Sign this contract, and let's get you to training camp. Daniel's face drained to chalk, his clipboard frozen, his voice stammering. He's not ready. He's too raw for pro ball. Tate's eyes sliced through him like a blade. You're not the scout, coach. I see what you refuse to. Jalen's hand trembled as he gripped the pen, his signature scrawling across the contract, a key to G League tryouts, a shot at the NBA, a lifeline from the bench that had chained him. His wristband pulsed, his breath steadying, his eyes meeting Tate's, her not a quiet promise. You're enough. Marcus Lopez, his Latino teammate, clapped his shoulder, his voice low. You did it, Jalen. You're out here. Darius Jones, a senior forward, grinned. G League, man, that's big. Ethan Miller, the white starter Daniels had favored, stood silent, his smirk gone, his jumper's clangs echoing in his hollow spot. Jalen's heart raced, but he stayed cool, the shade all too familiar, cops eyeing his bike as a kid riding through Mechanicsville, teachers calling him trouble for his restless energy, refs whistling his flair while letting Ethan's fouls slide. His game, honed on unforgiving street courts, tempered by Trey's relentless drills under flickering streetlights, fueled by Nia's unwavering faith, was his shield, his blackness a crown he refused to dim. Tate led him to the bleachers, her notepad tucked away, her voice low and deliberate. Jalen, you're not just a player, you're Atlanta's future. Training camp starts tomorrow, 6 a.m., College Park. Be ready to prove you're pro. Daniels muttered to an assistant, his voice a venomous hiss. Fluke. He'll crash in the pros. Jalen's eyes flicked to him, unyielding, his voice steady. Watch me, coach. I'm just getting started. The gym stirred, players dispersing, parents whispering, assistant coaches exchanging glances, the air crackling with a shift no one could name. Nia burst through the doors, her teacher's aide apron still tied, her eyes wet with pride. Baby, you made it. She hugged him, her hands trembling from years of chalk-dusted classrooms, her love a fire that burned through doubt. Uncle Trey limped in, his old knee injury slowing him, his Morehouse Letterman jacket faded, his voice deep and resonant. You broke their chains, nephew. Keep rising. The court was a crucible, its hardwood scarred with the ghosts of games won and lost, Jalen's spark a flame kindled by Tate's belief, Daniel's shade reduced to ash scattered by the wind. Ex-posts exploded. Maya Carter, Jalen's cousin and a CU freshman, had filmed the signing from the bleachers, her live stream hitting 3 million views. Jalen just got signed to the G League. Coach tried to bench him. Hashtag court bias. Comments roared. Black prodigy. Daniel's gotta go. The gym's silence broke. Players like Marcus and Darius crowding Jalen, their voices a chorus. You're the real deal, man. Ethan slipped out, his starter jersey limp, his father's glare trailing him. Jalen's heart thumped, his wristband a pulse, but he stood tall, the contract in his hand a key to a world beyond Westlake's banners, beyond Daniel's clipboard, beyond the bench that had tried to chain him. Tate handed him a Skyhawks cap, her voice a quiet command. Wear this tomorrow, Jalen. You're not just playing for you. You're playing for Mechanicsville, for Atlanta, for every kid they try to bench. Jalen nodded, his dreadlocks swaying, his eyes burning with a fire he couldn't name. Nia's arms tightened, her voice soft. You're my star, always have been. Trey's hand rested on his shoulder, his limp a reminder of dreams cut short, his words heavy. This is bigger than you. Nephew. Carry us. The gym's air shifted, the court no longer a battlefield but a launch pad. Jalen sparked a fire ready to blaze through tryouts, through training, through every court that dared to doubt him. Daniel Shade was a ghost, his roster a relic. Jalen's talent a chainbreaker poised to rewrite Westlake's history and claim his place in the light. The community stirred beyond the gym's walls. Mechanicsville's street courts buzzed with kids chanting Jalen's name. Church choirs planned vigils. Elders like Ms. Ruth, Trey's neighbor, spread the news. Our boy's going pro. Jalen's drills replayed in his mind, crossovers slicing like a poet's pen, dunks thundering like gospel chords, assists threading like prayers. But Daniel's benching haunted, a ghost of Shade he'd faced too often. He'd endured it, cops, teachers, refs, but his game, his wristband, his blackness were his crown, forged in Mechanicsville's heart, where hoop dreams rose from concrete and hope burned eternal. A memory surged. Mechanicsville, 2018, Jalen 13, winning a city tournament on a cracked court. Trey's voice proud. You're a star, nephew, don't let him dim you. Nia's hands, weary from grading papers, tied his sneakers, her sacrifices, night shifts, empty cupboards, fueling his path, her love a fire that burned through Shade. That vow play, no shade, a legacy kindled in Jalen's soul, a spark born in Mechanicsville's rhythm, where street ball echoed and choir sang of redemption. The gymnasium was Jalen's crucible, Daniel's bias ash, his fight a fire ready to blaze through Atlanta's courts and beyond, his truth a ball soaring toward the stars, his game a chainbreaker for every kid dreaming on concrete. The practice court at Westlake High School thrummed under the violet haze of June's evening, June 14, 2025, a week after Jalen Carter's G League signing by scout Marissa Tate turned coach Carl Daniels racist benching into a radiant triumph. His talent a flame that burned through Atlanta's hoop dreams. Jalen stood at the free throw line, his gray practice jersey soaked, dreadlocks tied back in a tight knot, brown eyes blazing like a Mechanicsville dusk, his leather wristband, Uncle Trey's cross-etched gift, pulsing warm against his skin. At 17, he was a rise, his legs primed for G League drills under Tate's watchful eye, his heart a drumbeat for a dream that stretched beyond the court, his mother Nia's voice a steady him. Play your truth, Jalen. You're forged for this. Daniel's Shade lingered, overrated, a fluke, a venomous whisper, but Jalen's contract was ablaze, his game poised to soar, reshaping Westlake's court and igniting Atlanta's basketball soul. The court was a living pulse, nets swishing like soft prayers, sneakers chirping in sync, the air thick with ambition, sweat, and the faint echo of a church choir's hum drifting from Mechanicsville's streets. Jalen, a son of those cracked asphalt courts, where hoop dreams baked under George's sun, where elders spun tales of resilience, had transformed tryouts into a coronation, his crossovers a dance of defiance, his dunks a roar that shook the rim, his assists threading like silk through chaos. His wristband, a cross of faith bestowed after a tournament at 13, was his anchor, a reminder of Trey's gravelly voice. Your game's your freedom, nephew. Nia sat in the bleachers, her teacher's aide apron folded, her eyes glistening, her text aflare across his phone. You're my star, baby, keep rising. Uncle Trey leaned against the scorer's table, his Morehouse Letterman jacket faded, his limp a shadow of old injuries, his voice deep. On this court, Jalen, it's yours now. Daniels lurked on the sidelines, his clipboard idle, his wire-rimmed glasses glinting, his eyes cold as he watched Jalen train with G League coaches Tate had brought in, a trio of pros in Skyhawks gear, their drills relentless. Carter, sharper on the pick-and-roll, one barked, but his tone was respect, not shade. Jalen's step-back jumper swished, his defense a steel wall, his drive slicing through cones like a poet's pen through silence. Marcus Lopez, his Latino teammate, nodded from the bench. You're NBA-bound, man, no cap. Darius Jones, a senior forward, grinned. They can't hold you, Jalen. Ethan Miller, the white starter Daniels had favored, stood apart, his jumpers clanging in a side drill, his starter spot a fading crown. Daniels muttered to an assistant, his voice a hiss. Overrated, he'll crash in the pros. Tate's voice cut through, sharp as a blade. He's pro material, coach. You missed what's plain as day. Jalen's game rose, his G League drills a crucible, sprints burning his lungs, crossovers carving paths, dunks thundering like gospel chords, assists threading like prayers through a needle's eye. The court was his canvas, his body a brush painting freedom, each move a defiance of Daniel's bench, a testament to Mechanicsville's grit. Tate pushed him harder, her blazer swapped for a Skyhawks hoodie, her voice a command. Jalen, you're not just Atlanta's hope, you're the South's. Keep climbing. Every rep, every play. Jalen nodded, his dreadlocks swaying, his wristband a pulse, his heart racing with a dream that stretched from Westlake's scarred hardwood to NBA arenas. Clips of his drills, posted by Maya, hit 15 million views, her caption blazing. Jalen's rising. Y'all. Coach tried to bench him. Hashtag court bias. Comments roared. Black prodigy. Daniel's gotta go. The community rallied beyond the gym's walls. Mechanicsville's street courts buzzed with kids mimicking Jalen's fadeaway. Church choirs at MT Zion Baptist planned vigils for his journey. Elders like Ms. Ruth, Trey's neighbor, spread the news at the corner store. Our boy's going pro, praise God. Nia's colleagues at Carver Elementary fundraised for Jalen's training gear, their chalk-dusted hands pooling dollars for sneakers and camps. Trey's old teammates from Morehouse showed up, their voices a chorus. You're carrying us, Jalen. Daniel shade-haunted, not ready, a ghost of bias Jalen had faced too often, cops eyeing his bike, teachers calling him trouble, refs flagging his flair. But his talent, his wristband, his blackness were his crown, forged in Mechanicsville's heart, where hoop dreams rose from concrete and hope burned eternal. Jalen's drills intensified. G League coaches ran him through pick-and-rolls, defensive slides, three-point barrages, his legs screaming, his heart steady. Marcus joined a scrimmage, his steel sparking fast breaks, his voice fierce. We're with you, Jalen. Darius lobbed an alley-oop, Jalen soaring, the rim rattling, the gym hushing. Ethan's shots kept clanging, his father's glare from the bleachers await, his starter role a fading echo. Daniels watched, his clipboard a relic, his mutters drowned by the crowd's cheers, Maya filming. Her ex-live hitting 20 million views. Jalen's a star, Westlake's shame. Hashtag court bias. Tate's voice rang. Jalen, you're rewriting the game. Keep rising. The rise was grueling, early mornings, late nights, Trey's drills echoing in his muscles, Nia's prayers in his heart. Mechanicsville's courts packed nightly, kids chanting Jalen's name, their sneakers scuffed, their dreams lit by his fire. Ms. Ruth hosted a prayer circle, her cane tapping. Jalen's our hope. Jalen's game was his shield, his legacy climbing, Daniel's shadesh scattered by the wind. The court was his crucible, his rise a fire, his stand reshaping Westlake's history. A memory surged. Mechanicsville, 2020, Jalen 15, playing street ball under flickering streetlights, Trey's voice fierce. Your game's your rebellion, nephew. Nia's sacrifices, night shifts, empty cupboards, fueled his camps, her love a fire that burned through shade. That vow play, no shade, a legacy kindled in Jalen's soul, a fire born in Mechanicsville's rhythm, where street ball echoed and choir sang of redemption. The practice court was Jalen's rise, Daniel's bias ash, his fight ablaze ready to light Atlanta's hoops and beyond, his truth a ball soaring toward the stars. The G League practice facility in College Park, Atlanta, blazed under July's midday Sunday, July 15, 2025, a month after Jalen Carter's G League signing turned Coach Carl Daniels' racist benching into a radiant triumph, his talent a flame that set Atlanta's basketball dreams alight. Jalen stood at the three-point line, his black Skyhawks jersey crisp, dreadlocks tied back, brown eyes blazing like a Mechanicsville dawn, his leather wristband. Uncle Trey's cross-etched gift, pulsing warm. At 17, he was ablaze, his legs coiled for a showcase game before NBA scouts, his heart racing for a shot at the pros, his mother Nia's voice a steady him. Play your truth, Jalen. Daniel's shade, overrated, he'll crash, was ash, Jalen's game a fire, his stand a legacy for the city, ready to roar across courts worldwide. The facility was a crucible, nets snapping like whip cracks, crowds buzzing in the stands, the air thick with ambition, sweat, and the faint hum of a jazz riff drifting from a nearby radio. Jalen, a Mechanicsville son, dazzled through G League drills, dunks thundering like gospel chords, crossovers carving paths like a poet's pen, assists threading like prayers through chaos. His wristband, a cross of faith, was his anchor, a reminder of Trey's voice. Your game's your freedom. Nia sat courtside, her teacher's aide apron swapped for a Skyhawk shirt, her eyes glistening like dew on Georgia peaches. Uncle Trey leaned beside her, his Morehouse Letterman jacket faded, his voice deep. "You're our star, nephew, always." Marissa Tate, now Jalen's agent, coached from the sideline, her voice sharp. "Jalen, you're the future. Own this game." Daniels watched from the upper stands, his wire-rimmed glasses glinting, his face sour. Westlake players, Marcus Lopez, Darius Jones, cheering Jalen from the front row, their voices a chorus. "Kill it, Jalen." Ethan Miller, Daniels' favorite starter, was absent, his jumpers clangs a fading echo. Jalen's game blazed, 40 points in the showcase, 10 assists, his defense an iron wall, his step-back threes swishing like silk. The crowd roared, NBA scouts scribbling, their badges flashing, Raptors, Hawks, Lakers. Tate's voice cut through. "That's my guy, show him." Daniels muttered to a parent, his voice a hiss. "Fluke, he'll choke under pressure." Marcus overheard, his eyes flashing. "Coach, you're done. Jalen's the real deal." Jalen's drive sliced through defenders, his dunks rattled rims, his assists sparked teammate scores, the facility shaking with each play. Clips of the game, posted by Maya, hit 50 million views, her caption soaring. "Jalen's ablaze, Westlake's shame. #court bias." Comments roared, "Black prodigy. Fire Daniels." A Raptors scout approached Tate, his voice urgent. "We want Carter, two-way contract, NBA roster spot." Jalen's heart soared, but he stayed cool, his wristband a pulse. Daniels shaved dust under his sneakers. Nia's eyes met his, her hands clasped, her love a fire that burned through doubt. Trey nodded, his limp a shadow, his voice fierce. "You're carrying us, nephew." The game closed, Jalen's Skyhawks winning 110-92, his performance a symphony. Each dribble a note, each dunk a crescendo, each assist a prayer. Scouts swarmed, Tate fielding offers. Hawks, Raptors, Lakers vying for Jalen's name. The facility roared, Mechanicsville fans chanting, "Jalen, Jalen." Maya's X Live hit 60 million views. Jalen's NBA bound. #court bias. Jalen's game was his shield, his legacy climbing. Daniel's shade, ash scattered by the wind. The court was his stage, his blaze a beacon, his stand reshaping Atlanta's hoops. Mechanicsville rallied, street courts packed, kids mimicking Jalen's crossover, churches praying, Ms. Ruth hosting vigils, our boy's a star. Nia's colleagues fundraised, Trey's Morehouse crew mentored kids, the community a furnace forging hope. Jalen's rise was grueling, dawn drills, late scrimmages, Tate's voice relentless. "You're not just a player, Jalen, you're a movement." His talent, his wristband, his blackness were his crown, forged in Mechanicsville's heart, where hoop dreams rose from concrete. A memory bloomed. Mechanicsville, 2022, Jalen 16, winning a national tournament, Trey's voice proud. "Your game's your rebellion, nephew." Nia's hands, weary from grading, tied his sneakers, her sacrifices fueling his fire. That vow, play, no shade, a legacy, shone bright, a blaze born in Mechanicsville's rhythm, where street ball echoed and choirs sang of redemption. The facility was Jalen's blaze, Daniel's bias ash, his fight a fire ready to light the NBA and beyond, his truth a ball soaring toward the stars. The State Farm Arena in Atlanta roared under October's golden lights, October 15, 2025, for months after Jalen Carter's G League signing turned coach Carl Daniels' racist benching into a radiant triumph. His talent a flame that crowned Atlanta's basketball dreams. Jalen stood at center court, his College Park Skyhawks jersey retired in a ceremony, dreadlocks tied back, brown eyes blazing like a Mechanicsville star, his leather wristband, Uncle Trey's cross-etched gift, pulsing warm. At 17, he was a crown, his NBA debut with the Atlanta Hawks looming, his heart soaring for his city, his mother Nia's voice a steady him. "Play your truth, Jalen." Daniel shade fluke, he'll choke, was ash, Jalen's game a crown, his legacy a movement for Atlanta, eternal, a fire that would light the world. The arena was a kingdom, 25,000 fans chanting Jalen. Jalen, the air thick with cheers, jazz notes fading from a pregame band, the court gleaming like a polished altar. Clips of Jalen's G League highlights, 40-point games, game-winning dunks, had soared to 150 million views, Maya Carter's post blazing, Jalen's crowned, Atlanta's king. Hashtag court bias. Nia stood courtside, her teacher's aide apron long gone, her crimson dress glowing, her eyes what like dew on Georgia peaches. Uncle Trey leaned beside her, his Morehouse Letterman jacket a relic, his voice deep and resonant. You're our king, nephew, always. Marissa Tate, now Jalen's agent, nodded from the VIP section, her voice sharp in a pregame call. Jalen, you've changed the game on this debut. Daniels was absent. His Westlake tenure ended after an investigation into bias, his shade dust scattered by Jalen's fire. Westlake teammates, Marcus Lopez, Darius Jones, cheered from the front row, their voices a chorus. Jalen, you're the GOAT. The ceremony began, Jalen's Skyhawks jersey raised to the rafters, a banner beside Hawks legends like Dominique Wilkins. The crowd surged, their roars shaking the arena's bones, Atlanta's mayor proclaiming, Jalen Carter Day, for a son who rose from shade to crown. Jalen's debut loomed, his Hawks contract, a two-way deal with a roster spot, signed after a G League season where he averaged 25 points, 8 assists, his defense an iron wall. The court was his altar, his game a symphony, each dribble a note, each dunk a crescendo, each assist a prayer answered. NBA scouts had vied, Raptors, Lakers, but Jalen chose the Hawks, his voice steady. I'm Atlanta's, my roots are here. X trended, Jalen crowns Atlanta. Hashtag court bias. Jalen stepped to the mic, his wristband a pulse, his voice steady, Atlanta drawl thick. This isn't just my crown, it's Mechanicsville's, Atlanta's, every kid they try to bench. The arena roared, fans leaping, Maya's X Live hitting 200 million views. Jalen's our king. Hashtag court bias. Nia's hands clasped, her eyes glistening, her love afire that burned through years of night shifts, empty cupboards, and chalk-dusted dreams. Trey's nod was heavy, his limp a shadow, his voice fierce. You're carrying us, nephew, all of us. Marcus and Darius raised fists, their Westlake jerseys swapped for Hawks gear, their voices a gospel swell. Jalen's the truth. The crowd chanted, the arena a crucible where legacy burned eternal. Jalen's crown a beacon forged in Mechanicsville's heart, where street courts cracked and choirs sang of redemption. Jalen launched the Carter Hoops Academy in Mechanicsville, funded by his Hawks contract, coaching kids on the same asphalt where he learned to fly, his voice loud. Play your truth, y'all. No shade can dim your light. The program, free camps, new courts, scholarships, lit the neighborhood. Kids like little Jamal, 9, mimicking Jalen's fadeaway, their sneakers scuffed, their dreams blazing. Ms. Ruth, Trey's elder neighbor, hosted vigils at MT Zion Baptist, her cane tapping. Jalen's our hope, our star. Nia's colleagues at Carver Elementary joined, their fundraisers now building gyms, their hands no longer chalk-dusted but raised in praise. Trey's Morehouse crew mentored youth, their voices echoing. Jalen's our legacy. The debut game tipped off, Jalen starting for the Hawks, 30 points, 8 assists, 5 steals, his dunks thundering, his crossovers slicing, his defense a steel wall. The arena shook, fans chanting, Maya's X Live hitting 250 million views. Jalen's NBA crown. Hashtag court bias. Raptors scouts nodded, Lakers called Tate, but Jalen was Atlanta's, his game a fire, his legacy a star. Daniel's shade was dust, Westlake's roster a relic, Jalen's crown eternal. He closed the game with a buzzer beater, the net swishing, the crowd a gospel choir, Atlanta's mayor embracing him. You're our son. Jalen's academy grew, courts in Vine City, camps in Decatur, partnerships with HBCUs like Morehouse, Spelman. His first Hawks season loomed, his 6th G League game a legend, 50 points, 12 assists, a triple-double that silenced doubters. Tate's voice was fierce. Jalen, you're not just a player, you're a movement. Nia's sacrifices, years of night shifts, her hands grading papers, were his foundation. Trey's drills, hours on cracked asphalt, his spark. Mechanicsville's love, choirs, vendors, elders, his crown, his blackness a radiant light that redefined the court. A memory flared, Mechanicsville, 2023, Jalen 16, winning a national tournament, Nia's voice fierce, you're my star, baby. Trey's hands, scarred from factory work, passed him the ball, his love a fire, Mechanicsville's cheers a gospel swell. That vow play, no shade, a legacy, shown eternal, a crown forged in Atlanta's heart, where street ball echoed, choirs sang, and elders spun tales of survival. The State Farm Arena was Jalen's kingdom, Daniel's bias ash, his fight a star that would light the world, his truth a ball soaring through the net, his game a chainbreaker for every kid dreaming on concrete. If this story moved you, Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share it with someone who needs to know what true strength looks like. Join us at Narratives of Black Struggles for more stories that ignite resilience and demand justice.